Today's NBA has some of the most amazing athletes you could ever see. You have guys like LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, working each and every day to become the best player they can be, and to use LeBron James's term, strive for greatness. And because they are able to strive for greatness, they are able to do amazing things. And we're also seeing that with the future NBA rookies as well. Guys like Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Ben Simmons, Lonzo Ball, they're all trying to put their names in the history books of becoming one of the greats in the entire NBA. But what if I told you that future NBA is going to be in some trouble? And here on The Charge, we're going to be going over what I think and believe is going to be a future where sports participation is going to be declining. And the reason why I sell this is because if we look at the chart here from CIFA, which is just talking about sports trends in the US and Team Sports Report, from 2009 to 2014, there has been a decrease all over the board except for one sport, and I think that's rugby. But rugby has very few and far players. If we look at the percentage change, basketball is at a negative 6.8%. And we see that youth sports participation is just going down and down and down to a point where I think it's becoming at an alarming rate, and I think something needs to be done about it. Now, if we look at what youth sports is a $15 billion industry. And you heard me right, $15 billion. And I don't know if you remember playing AAU basketball, if you were, on a Boys and Girls Club team or a YMCA team. You remember your parents signing you up. And the thing you never did was you never asked your parents how much it cost to join the league. And because you never asked any of that, we never realized how much it cost until I did my research. When I looked at my research and saw some of the teams' pricings, some of it ranged from $400 to $4,000. And you heard me right, $4,000 to join an AAU team or just a travel team, which is absolutely crazy to me because what it does is that it is very negatively affecting the low-income families because $4,000 is a lot to them. And because they have that $4,000, it's going to other things that is not the kid playing basketball. It's an unfortunate situation. It's just the way life is. And because these families are not able to pay the fees for their kids to play the sport, they're not going to be able to get the highest level of competition that I feel like those kids should get. We hear guys that are saying, oh, they're better than LeBron, oh, they're better than D-Wade, but they never got any offers, they never went anywhere, and it's because of certain situations like this where they're not able to afford it. This is just one example of it. Another factor that could also hurt participation in sports is the fact that kids as young as 3 and 4 are starting to play sports, and because you start kids off at a young age, they're going to get burnt out more likely when they get to high school or even middle school or elementary because you're training them every day. I just saw a family in the gym that I work out at where the kid would not even want to train. He would just want to just shoot some hoops with his dad, but his dad wanted to train him because I believe from what I saw is that his dad probably wants his kid to be better at basketball than he was. The dad wasn't very good, but he wanted his kid to be better. He wanted his kid to play in high school eventually. I'm assuming that's what he goes for because as a high school coach, you can kind of see what parents are like that. And because the dad was like that, the kid just looked miserable playing the game of basketball. Basketball is a game that should bring joy and happiness to whatever you do. Basketball is life. Ball is life. There's an expression that a lot of basketball players and a lot of coaches and anyone that's just affiliated with basketball uses. Ball is life. And because ball is life, there shouldn't be any disruption in that with kids that are sad to play the game. You shouldn't hate the game to a point where you don't want to play it anymore. The game of basketball is so much fun, and because it's such an entertaining game, basketball should always be appreciated. It should always be a fun thing to do. As a coach, there are different styles that you have to approach different players. Some players you can be more aggressive with in terms of, being more strict with them, and there are some players that you kind of have to put your arms around them because they like encouragement better. And that's something that I'm trying to work as a coach, to work at learning what different players' personalities are like so that I can better understand what they want to do in their future careers, whether it's in the game of basketball or whether it's away from the court. Whatever it is, I want to be able to coach a D1 player, an NBA player, a guy that's successful CEO, because life lessons are taught through sports, and that's why parents need to understand that more than I think they actually do, because parents really look at sports as a way of, validating themselves, whether it's, getting an MVP, whether it's winning a state championship, or whatever it is. Sports should always be taught as life lessons. Whether you win or lose, that's how it should be. And because kids grow simply bored because of the burnout, which I talked about earlier in this tangent before I went off on this, burnout is likely to happen because you force your kids and because your kids' personalities don't clash with the way that you coach or parent. I mean, that's the thing about being a parent. That's the thing about being a coach. You have to do it in different ways. And I hope that parents, if you are that guy that forces your kid, not really forces, but if you bring your kid to a YMCA, you bring your kid to the Boys and Girls Club, you bring your kid to the gym that you work out at, let him just enjoy the game and figure out the game for himself. That's how I learned different tricks and maneuvers to really work on my English off the glass. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can work on, my different drives. And because my dad wasn't forcing me to play basketball all the time, because he wasn't forcing me like, hey, you need to get to the gym now at least 4 to 5 times a week to work on your shot so that you can be a high school player, which I don't mind that. I don't mind you doing that, but I think you could do it in a more creative and constructive way than some parents who are just kind of like forcing it, like jamming a square peg through a round hole, per se, as to use as a cliche. Another thing that kind of ruins it is adults ruin it for kids when you overemphasize winning as the objective. With results increasing and pressures to win and achieve, I think too many times we get caught up in the winning mentality where we kind of don't want the kids to lose because they're our kids, or, you know, for my example as a coach, I don't want my kids to lose because I'm a coach and I want to always, strive my best and win the game. But in reality, that's not always the case. You're not going to win every single game. Eventually, you do take L's. And because you take those L's, you learn a lot of life lessons. These are kind of the examples that I came up with as to what sports was really made for. And this was to be examples for teamwork, problem solving, working to get better, communication skills. A lot of different skills have been brought out because of sports. And that is the main reason why I think sports was really created, was to kind of teach those life lessons. Sometimes in life, you never understand why a certain thing happens. But through sports, you can kind of understand it in an easier way. For some guys, for some girls, it's an easier way to learn. And because of that, that's the reason why I think ball is life, because you learn these different types of lessons. Dropping out of youth sports and physical activity continues to be a concern, especially in a majority of youth seems to withdraw during the middle school years. The structure, emphasis on competitive results, length of season, commitment, along with boredom are typically cited as the primary reasons. So in conclusion, with the drop of participation in sports, we could eventually see drop in talent in players such as Ben Simmons, LeBron James, Steph Curry, and many others because of money, boredom, and burnout. And because we see that, I think we need to do a better job as coaches, as parents, to really get this under control, because I don't want to see a world where we don't have the game of basketball, the game of football, baseball, because all those sports are very important to creating the men and women that we see out in the world today. Some of us became better persons because we joined the basketball team, because we joined the chess team. Whatever team you joined, whatever sport you played, you joined it and you got and became a better person because of it. Whether you learned it the hard way or whether you learned it in a nice and constructive way. Sometimes you have to be cut from the team. Sometimes you have to be let go from the team to really understand the lessons that need to be learned through sports. And because sports teaches you a really good life lesson, I hope what this video brought to you guys was really understanding why the participation has been dropping, whether it's from boredom, money, burnout. I want you as a parent, as a coach, or if you're an influence of the younger generation, help these kids out by getting them more involved in youth sports. Help them by creating a better system, creating a better environment for them so that way they don't become bored with sports. They don't become tired of it. They don't want to go do something else. They don't want to go play Fortnite all day. They don't want to go and do something different. If you are passionate about sports, if you want to help continue the game grow and become more engaging, please help the community out. I know this almost seems like a PSA for coaching, but I really want youth sports, I really want the NBA to get the top echelons players, because if we continue to see the numbers drop, we could eventually see very talented players that could have played the game be gone. We could see a LeBron James-esque type of player gone because he didn't have the necessary resources. I just hope the one thing that you get out of this video as we sign off here, let's continue to keep the game engaging. Let's help it continue to grow and become better people for the game of basketball, for the game of football, for the game of baseball, whatever sport you play, rugby, Australian football, tennis, golf. Let's continue to keep this engagement going. Let's continue to look strong. And coaches, parents, players, whoever you are, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great thing for the community that you're in. And before we sign out of today's video, put in the comments down below, do you agree with the 3 things I talked about being as the decline in youth sports? Do you guys agree with me that it's money, it's boredom, it's burnout? Put it down in the comments down below, what do you guys think? And also let me know if you're a coach or you're a parent, do you see these type of things in your sporting career? Do you see these things when you coach? Do you see these things when you parent your kid? I would really like to know, and I'm very interested in it. Anyway, guys, this has been your boy Bernie here on The Charge, giving you the latest video here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and also check out our other content. We go over NBA teams such as Fixer Uppers. We got the ones out for Phoenix Suns and also the New York Knicks. I'd really appreciate it if you go and check out those videos. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.